honor.
Love to the loveless shore.
I think what we were really guilty of, and you know, for the first part of this record, was kind of treating the studio as a bit of a day job and sort of going from 9 till 5 and then going out for a nice meal in the evening.
But that's no way to make great music. But I think we were all just enjoying sort of clocking in and clocking out for a while.
Well, we did that for quite some time, really, probably about 10 months. Then we realised that a lot of it sounded like we'd never played it together. Had no atmosphere, no sort of tension in it.
It came to a point we realised we weren't really working as a band anymore, and it could have been just session musicians going in there and...
Except crap session musicians.
Crap session musicians.
We had to go through that to get to where we were. We had to experience the real feeling of separation, and we were quite disparate for a while and didn't really hang out with each other outside of the studio. I think it was really important to realise what we'd lost in order to get it back.
What we had to do is really find ourselves again as a band and remember what it was like to just be in, you know, Johnny's bedroom with a few guitars and amps and just really go back to basics. And then that's when things started to really happen.
We were suddenly getting this incredible feeling again. We're like, well, why are we getting this incredible feeling? And Guy or Will said, well, it's because we're playing together in a room. There's no technology in here. There's no assistants or producers or managers or groupies or anything like that. And it was just feeling amazing. So then we said, right, well, we've got to re-record all those other songs then.
My song is love.
Johnny was pushing himself to do new things, and Will was pushing himself to do new things.
And we got really excited again about being a band and became much better friends.
It suddenly made us realise, wow, you know, the best feeling is when the four of us are just trying to push each other and inspire each other. And that's what we've got to get back to, and that's what we subsequently did.
And then said, right, well, let's get on with it. Let's go back and let's get rehearsing and start getting really anal and kind of really obsessed about it, like it's our first and last record.
So when we started working again in the studio, it was all hours, you know. Sometimes, you know, not coming out till sort of 3, 4 in the morning, and you can't switch off. It's got to be that sort of clear focus that you have to get through it.
Then we finished the majority of the album in the last 3 months. So
we pretty much re-recorded and did the whole album in 3 months. It's like doing it, not sort of doing any work for an exam and doing it all the night before, you know, revising the night before or something.
The lyrics were trying to express a feeling of awe, which so many things that I used to take for granted suddenly started giving me. Maybe because of having a baby, maybe because of suddenly appreciating everything we've been given. It was about recognising miracles and incredible things that are around you all the time.
The sort of things that you take for granted, the really incredible things or the terrible things that you just accept happen, but then you don't really understand why.
Of years in the future, there could be computers looking for life on.
I think we had about 60 ideas in total that we were sort of working from in this record. I think we actually recorded close to 20, I think.
I think 18 or 20. Actually fully recorded.
It's quite a long process to kind of narrow that down to the 12 that we've picked.
I heard that if you laid all our discarded songs next to each other, it would go to Birmingham and back. There's a lot of them.
If you could trace the family tree back of some of our songs, they would all have relatives in these songs that we were doing, like when we were touring, and just little ideas for riffs and
old beats.
Yeah, it's just like a big kind of strange genealogy of the
It's true,
songs.
right. To get to the finished standing up man version of the song, being through all the stages of the evolution process.
I think we're always aware, we certainly started to be aware on the second album, that how important a part of a band's sort of life is to play live. And I think there's always that subconscious thing in your mind that, you know, you're going to be doing festivals and you're going to be playing big shows, and it's always great to have a few sort of songs in your set list that are really sort of high energy, because it's so exciting to play.
See the world in black and white, no color or light. You think you'll never get it right, but you're wrong, you might. The sky could fall on me. The power turn on the sea. But you mean more and more to me than any color I can see. All you ever wanted was love, but you never looked hard enough. It's never gonna give itself up. All you ever wanted to be, living in perfect symmetry. Nothing is as down on as us. See the world in black and white. It's not painted right. You think you'll meet into your life, but you should try. You should try. All you ever wanted was love, but you never looked hard enough. It's never gonna give itself up. All you ever wanted to be, living in perfect symmetry. Nothing is as down or as up. Don't you wanna see it come soon? Blowing your big white balloon, give on your own silver spoon. Don't you wanna see it come down? Let me throw your arms around. I'm saying that I'm over too soon. 'Cause I What if there was no light? Nothing wrong, nothing right. What
The songs really fell into two categories on the album. They were sort of either the experimental ones, which sort of came around in a sort of more bitty way, but this What If was a sort of more traditional sort of song in the sense that Chris wrote the whole thing on a piano and showed us the whole song, and there was nothing left to do, and it was just a case of just then sort of working on it as a band and writing sympathetic parts for it, and it was, you know, it was really quite a quick process.
I think it's great. It's one of the most instant ones. If I'm honest, I think it'll be one of the ones that people will remember. I think it'll be, you know.
Do you think it'll be on the best of?
I think it might just make the best of.
Every song that is on the record has had the stamp of all of us on it, even if it's Will saying, I'm not going to come in till 2 minutes 30. Sometimes people not playing is a sign of them having done their...
I'm the best not playing drummer in the world.
Yeah, you're the
No
best.
one doesn't play like me.
And it's so hard to see clearly. You don't have to be on your own.
The Message is the last song to be written for the album, and we recorded it in about a day and a half or something, right at the end, rushing. And when we'd done it, we knew we had the right mixture of songs. I think it just felt we needed another one, and that one just came along.
One night in the middle of the night, I just sat up in bed, like, totally wired, and something in my head was just telling me, go downstairs, go downstairs, go downstairs. So I don't want to go downstairs, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I said, no, go downstairs. It was like, you know, it was an argument with myself. I went downstairs, totally nude, and I sat down with the same guitar that had just a few months earlier, a month earlier, given us the end of Square One. And this song just arrived in like 4 minutes. And I was like, wow, I couldn't believe it. I'm incredibly proud of it. And it then meant that the record could be finished.
I really like it because a lot of the songs are very dense, and densely, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on, and then this is a nice space there. So.
The sentiment of the lyrics again are just very, very direct. It's not, you know, it's not one of the songs which is kind of more abstract lyrically. It's just really powerful.
My song is love. My song is love unknown. And it goes up. You don't have to be alone. Your heavy heart is made of stone, and it's so hard to see clearly. You don't have to be on your own. You don't have to be on your own. And I'm not gonna take it back. And I'm not gonna say I don't mean that. You're the target that I'm aiming at, and I'm nothing on my own. My song is love. Love to the loveless shown, and I'm on fire for you. And my song is love unknown. And I've got to get that message home.
Quite an interesting story behind Talkley, because it's the first time we've used a melody from someone else's music, and it takes the melody from Kraftwerk's Computer Love.
It's one of those things when you hear a melody and you think, God, I wish we had written that, or that would sound great with Johnny playing it on a guitar.
But of course you can't, because it's already been written, and so the next thing you can do is nick it.
Yeah, and write them a nice letter asking if you could use it.
Obviously Kraftwerk are quite mysterious people. I had no idea if they knew who Coldplay were, so I had to basically explain myself in the same way that I would have had to do when I was a 13-year-old schoolboy. So I was like, "Dear Ralph, my name is Chris Martin, I'm 28. I sing in a band called Coldplay." You know, it was great, and it was a pen pal letter. And then luckily there was a German guy in the studio who translated it into German, so I wrote it out again in German. "Lieber Ralph, ich bin ein Coldplayer." You know, and we wrote to him, and I thought, well, this is never going to happen.
And he said yes.
He said, you know,
yeah.
He said, well, he said something like, "Yes, you can use it, and thank you very much for asking my permission, unlike that bastard Jay-Z."
We're forever grateful, because it's a good piece of work. We then freaked out because everybody said, "Well, that should be your first single," and then we scrapped it.
We got rid of it.
But then right at the end, this was like 3 weeks ago, went and listened to it, we're like, "Well, what are we doing?" And we put it straight back on.
Fix You was us trying to do a Jimmy Cliff song, like a kind of Many Rivers to Cross sort of organ.
And the tears come streaming down your face.
It's one of the songs that was always on the record, and it was an anchor around which everything else had to fit.
It's like the bedrock of the album. It's what all the other songs are kind of built around. It will always have to be there. And it's probably my favourite song.
The first song we've ever had about loss. You know, coping with loss and grief is the thing that everybody has to do, but nobody really talks about. We've never really addressed it before, and I know it was immediately one of our favourite songs, and it was very difficult to record in some senses because we went through many different versions of it, but eventually we went back to the version that John and I started in Chicago right at the beginning of the record, and we just kept that version.
I just think it's got an amazing message in the song. I think it's one of the most direct songs on the album lyrically.
It'll be the only song where all four of us sing, which, if it works, would be fantastic. If it doesn't, it'll sound absolutely cacophonous. So we'll see.
Me and John and Will are trying to learn how to sing and play our instruments at the same time, and it's proving to be rather disastrous. As we tend to mess up not just the singing, but the guitar playing and bass playing as well. Might have been guilty in the past of everyone's trying to do too much at the same time, and I feel that when we're in a room playing now, we're kind of more spatially aware of what's going on around us, and that's why, you know, you get these sort of interesting sections happening, and the sort of dynamics going between one section into another is much more carefully crafted now, I think. And you know, we've been playing together for quite a few years now, and you're bound to improve, and you're bound to, you know, become better technically, and also better in terms of, you know, being aware of everyone else around you.
We're going everywhere because we have a lot to do, and Glastonbury we're doing this year is just as important as it was last time, but in a different way, and we have just as much to prove.
We'll be in Japan, definitely. South America. We're actually going to some parts. We're going to
Eastern Europe.
Parts of Eastern Europe we've never been before. We're going to Estonia and Latvia and Finland and Russia, which will be amazing. I've never been to Russia yet.
And then we're going to do a 9-month residency at Euro Disney. We're very pumped.
Now it's time for us to go. We had a great time, but I think you already know. We hope you enjoy it tomorrow. That's all that I can think of to say. Except this sentence, which is kind of extra. No, that really is all we've got to say, okay. Thanks for giving us the best job in the world. Good night.